Hello and welcome to this edition of the program People, Politics and Power. I am Imonia Marere. Nigeria's democracy, now over 2.5 decades into the Fourth Republic, continues to face tests of endurance, unity, and purpose. From political polarization and ethno-religious tensions to misinformation and shrinking civic space. The challenge of building national cohesion under a democratic framework remains as urgent as ever. Now, for 2 days last week, editors from across the country converged on Abuja, the Nigerian capital, for the 21st All-Nigerian Editors Conference, with the theme, Democratic Governance and National Cohesion, the Role of Editors. The spotlight was turned on the media, the fourth estate of the realm, and its duty to protect the soul of democracy. Editors sit at the intersection of truth and power. Their pens can calm or inflame, unite or divide. In an era where fake news spreads faster than facts and partisan narrations threatening to fracture the nation's shared identity, the editor's role in shaping credible discourse, fostering accountability, and promoting inclusivity has never been more critical. So, how can Nigerian editors strengthen democratic governance and national cohesion? What ethical, institutional, and professional reforms are needed within the media space to rebuild public trust? And how can the media balance freedom with responsibility in a volatile political climate? The conference was declared open by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the first sitting president to grace the Editors' Conference in his 21-year history.
If I look back at the time I first assumed office and the way you all dealt with me, over subsidy removal, quote unquote, the floating of our exchange rate, removing the arbitrage, the corruption in the society, and the opportunity blocked against rentier economy. We should celebrate that one today. A democracy is sustained not only by elections and laws, but also by the integrity of the public conversation. This is where your role becomes central and indispensable as last man standing. Distinguished editors, your work matters. The tone you set in your newsroom. I watched the tone on some channels recently on Alhambra election. Before the result, is that here? Vote to buy. Vote to buy. Who is selling? If there's no reason to complain, let's be cheerleaders.
President of the GID, Eze Anaba, did not miss the opportunity to lay bare before the Nigerian president the concerning state of the media industry in the country. This is what he had to say.
The media must survive as a business. Without economic sustainability, our constitutional and social responsibilities become ineffectual. Therefore, we seek legislative and executive assistance to help balance our business, to make our businesses viable with our public duty.
Raizian Abadia, President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Now join us as we engage the leadership of the Nigerian Guild of Editors and in their own rights, leading voices in the newsrooms to review the conference and explore how editors can help steer Nigeria towards unity, justice, and enduring democracy. I'm joined in the studio by Dr. Iyobosa Uwugiaren. Dr. Uwugiaren is the treasurer of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Also with us is Mr. James Akpandem. Mr. Akpandem is a former managing editor of Daily Independent newspaper and a fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Mr. Akpandem, thank you so much.
Thank you, Moni, for having me.
Great. Welcome. We are also joined by Mr. Idris Hamza. Mr. Hamza is the Vice President North of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, and he's also the Editor-in-Chief, Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So let's delve straight into our discussion. First, Mr. Akpandem, how would you describe the 21st ANEC?
I would say it is the most successful. I've been part of this whole thing since 2004 when it started in Ada, Osun State. And I think I've missed only one since then. And I can say, without mincing words, that this is the best so far in terms of planning, in terms of logistics, in terms of delivery, in terms of the quality of persons that came as resource persons. And of course, this is the very first one that a sitting president has been part of it. So, and the discussions actually focused on our business, what we are doing and what we should be doing. So I would say that this is the best we've ever had. But of course, in terms of attendance, I think we had the highest this year. So apart from the fact that the guild is growing, it shows that members are interested in this business and in also in this country.
So, Mr. Hamza, as a member of the EXCO, must have tasked all of you so much to put this together. I've heard so many members of the guild who attended say, look, the organization this time was top-notch. How tasking was it?
Very tough, but then worth it, because the leadership, we all coalesce into a single force, because we knew that it was a big task to host it at the nation's capital. Elder here said the highest in terms of attendance, and that's true, because Abuja, every other person from across the country, Abuja is the melting point. So in terms of key personalities, you know, the president for the first time, we had ministers there, we had governors there, we had captains of industry there, and then participation, over 500 members all converged on Abuja. And we had a positive deliberation because everyone was given the opportunity to voice out. So we see it as a success story.
Dr. Uwugiaren, the theme of this year's ANEC had to do with democratic governance. So how did you come, why did you choose that thing for this ANEC?
Yeah, of course, you know the constitutional responsibility of the media. The Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution, you know, states very clearly the role of the media, that the media should at all time, you know, hold the government, public officers accountable to the people. And also knowing fully well the role of the media in deepening democracy. We believe that at this time when the country is serving different challenges in terms of security, we are also expecting election in the next 2 years. And even across the country, there are political disagreements. Of course, politics is about managing conflict, managing disagreement. You know, at the end of the day, aggregating views, at the end of the day, also determine how to allocate resources. we believe that there are different divergent views, there are different conflicts, there are different views about how we should manage our society. Some people are talking about marginalization, and we believe that there's need for us to build a nation, because you can only talk about democracy, you can only talk about election when you have a country. And we believe that the media is very crucial, is very critical, in moderating different views, whether a very tense political environment. We believe that the media has a responsibility to moderate these views, aggregate it, and set agenda for the government, to be able to deepen our democratic values. And it is on the basis of that, we believe that this year we should have that kind of team. How do we, as the first estate of the realm, partner with the other three arms of government in deepening our democracy? And when the president was talking, I'm talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he said the media is the last man standing. And we quite agree with him that the media is the oxygen, for democracy. If the media is very weak, you are indirectly also weakening our democratic norms and value. So because of our strategic role in society, we believe that there's need for us to interrogate those issues. And that is how we came up with that kind of team. And at the end of the day, we're happy that we're able to interrogate those issues. And there's a near consensus on how we should go about, resolving this problem.
Mr. Bandem, talking about interrogating the issues, 25 years or more into the Fourth Republic, Nigeria's return to democracy. If you were to look back and evaluate the conduct and the role the media has played these past 25 years, would you say that the media has lived up to its billing? Was all of that put on the table at this 21st ANEC?
Well, like everything within the system, the media grows with the system and adapts with the structures. But like Dr. Wogiarin said, the media has a responsibility to set an agenda to direct the course of society, the people, the government. And I want to believe that the Nigerian media has done so. And you cannot completely remove it from the society, the way the society is. And of course, you also know that in the last 25 years, there have been emerging issues in the media with technology, digital media, and all that. Even when you are going on a straight road, issues come, more media perspectives come, and of course, it will also draw some lines so that you would not have exactly what you expect, but in terms of delivery, in terms of operation, in terms of the number of agencies, the number of outfits, you discover that there's significant growth in the media. And then in terms of operation, there is also significant improvement. If you look at the practitioners today, they are more educated in terms of orientation, they are more exposed, and because of that, there's also more improvement in terms of operation and in terms of delivery. And then in terms of the quality of the media outfits that we have, the quality has gone up. And of course, there is also the sensitivity, because we are not operating today as nationalists, the nationalist media. We also, in the media, know that if there is no country, there's likely not going to be any media outfit or us operating within the system. So even when we do our job, we also look at the considerations, the ethical considerations, the legal considerations. And like most of the speakers during the conference came up with issues regarding how and why we should do certain things in certain ways. Some of them may just be concerns, but they are we also have the professional aspect of it to push. Now, the quality overall is high. We may have challenges, just like any other operator in the system, any other sector of the country. But in terms of improvement, in terms of in quality, in terms of operation, in terms of approach, and in terms of also being sensitive to national security, societal stability, and privacy of people, I think it has gone up. We have also been very, very conscious of the ethical requirements of accuracy, objectivity, and balance. But of course, like I said, you may have some sidekicks that may detract from the real things. But when you are putting it on a scale to weigh, you discover that the improved side is much better than the offside.
Okay, at least there are upsides and downsides. Mr. Hamza, you know, the media industry, as it is, and anywhere around the world, perhaps after the owners of the media organizations, the editors sit at top of whatever happens. Like I said earlier, the editors sit at the intersection between truth and power. How well have editors been able to play that role in the last 25 years of Nigeria's Fourth Republic democracy?
Excellent, because the president said it, even the Minister of Information reiterated it, that from 26 years back, on the return of democracy, the media is still the man standing.
The last one.
The last man standing. We have had issues with the executive. You know, every president, when you look at it from 1999, is it Obasanjo, is it Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, Buhari, and now we have President Tinubu. All of them. If you ask Nigerians, they will tell you one thing or the other. Of course, they have done their best. They are human. But then come to the media, the fourth estate of the realm. Even though if you are talking about, the enabling environment to thrive, they are being taken care of by the system because they have first-line charge, you know, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. But there have been so many questions on top of all the three. But what about the media? To greater extent, it is self-sustaining. And that is why our president there, he went there with about 4 or 5 key requests for us to also thrive and continue to hold those in power to account and also to be accountable to the citizens. Most importantly, the president spoke about tax holiday. I mean, almost everything in this studio, only God knows how much it takes you to manage this studio in a day. Is it the power? Is it the equipment? Is it even, how much does it cost to go out now from here to the Federal Secretariat to go and just do one report? It's really, really capital intensive. If it is for the print, you are talking about the cost of printing material, the ink, almost everything is dollarized. But then, it's not Father Christmas. Media houses are also owned by individuals, and that is why we have the plurality in the system. Of course, government-owned media houses, then private owners. But they all need sustainability. And that's why our president said, look, Mr. President, do us a favor. But it's not actually a favor, but he was, you know, kind enough to say, okay, do us a favor. Because even, is it farmers? Is it manufacturers? They all approach the president and they get rebate. They get tax holiday, you know, they import things. There are waivers for them. So our president said, look, give us in the media also waivers so that we can import all the equipment that we want. It was like 10 years. And then also checkmate those obnoxious laws. How many journalists have been arrested or even died in the line of duty between 1999 and now? So it was a frank talk. We treated this year's event as a clinic where every other person, I mean, is it the resource persons, our leadership, those in government? It was face to face, and then it was frank talk. We let everything bare, and then it was telecast live for Nigerians to see. We have seen some people asking questions, why did we take it to the villa? Of course, president can only go to 2 places. If not the villa, then maybe Transcorp Hilton. So we hosted the first, that is the opening event at the villa. The president was there, every other person was there, and then he spoke. You can see that it was tough for him when he removed subsidy. We said, well, we are asking questions because we feel that 2 years down the lane, Nigerians should have the positive effects of the removal of subsidy, of the floating of the naira, and all that. So I think editors along the line have been playing a vital role in stabilizing the two forces, because a lot of pressure from Nigerians asking us to look, ask government, where are the dividends? Where is the money? And then government saying, look, help us and tell them to be patient. You know, they will see the result. And I think to a greater extent, we have played a vital role in stabilizing the polity.
Dr. Wugari, let me drill that down a little bit. Like you said, the expectation out there of the media is so high. And there are those who think that, in the last 2 years especially, or indeed in the last 25 years, the media may not have done so much for the survival of democracy. But then the media itself has its own challenges, which is what the president of the Guild pushed forward at the opening ceremony. Let's look at those challenges again and how those challenges are impacting the optimal performance of the media and of editors especially.
Now, if you look at the mandate of the media, we have both constitutional and social responsibility in our society. But of course, to be able to discharge those two key responsibilities, we need to remain in business. And that is why the president went there to, let the president of the Federal Republic know the challenges that the media are facing as I speak to you. And there are several challenges. And the whole idea was that, President, we are ready to discharge those responsibilities, but we can only discharge those responsibilities if we remain in business. So I'm saying that within the context of the environment that we operate, especially the harsh economic environment under which the media operate, I think to a very large extent, I think we have discharged our responsibility very well. But that is not to say that there are no issues. There are issues, like my friend said, there are issues, and those issues are being taken care of. Now, if you look at the economic environment, it's very harsh. And today, like the Vice President Idris said, virtually everything that you require, to stay in business are imported. Let's take the electronic media, for example. Almost every day, the technology that you require to operate in television or radio stations is changing almost every day. Is it the microphone? Is it the camera? And everything is changing every day. And for you to be able to replace those technology that is coming up almost on a daily basis, you need to import them. And if you need to import them, you require foreign exchange to be able to import them. And they are very expensive, capital intensive. I think television is the most capital intensive media house that you can operate in anywhere you find yourself. So it's very expensive. Now, if you go to the newspaper, the cost of buying newsprint today, a ton of almost about, I don't know how they quantify it, a ton of newsprint is almost about 3 million naira. And that newsprint might not last about 2 days, And you have other consumables, within the media industry. So most of these things, you need to import them. And if we more import them, so you need the resources. And the cost, maybe because of the way the economic is being managed, it's also impacted on the media. So much so that the cost of production is going high almost on a daily basis. So, and that is the situation we find ourselves. Today, I can tell you that there are some media houses that are finding it very difficult to pay salary, not because they are not doing very well, but because of the economic environment that we find ourselves. Now, if you put all these things together, you will discover that the media is just struggling to survive. And apart from that, when the president was talking, I'm talking about Eze Anambra, he said, look, there are laws that also inhibit the performance of the media in the country. I tell you, there are some laws or acts that were enacted during the colonial era. Some of them are still in our statutory book because we refused, or the parliament failed or refused, to remove them from our statutory book. They are there. Law of sedition is there. The Official Secret Act is there. Even though we have Freedom of Information Act, the access to information is also very difficult, and so many things. And some time ago, there was a committee that was set up to look at those laws. And at the end of the day, we came up with those obnoxious law, which we presented to the Minister of Information, who gave us the assurance that he will present it to the legislative arms of government. And thereafter, we also present the copy of those laws, to the Deputy Speaker, who also assures that something will be done. So we believe that for us to be able to discharge our responsibility very well, the government, I'm talking of the executive arms of government and the legislative arms of government, need to create the enabling environment for us outside the economic issues that we're also facing. All over the world, because of the critical role of the media, some countries around the world support the media. I was doing a research some time ago. Last year alone, 2024, the EU spent almost about 580 million euro to support the media. 580 million euro to support the media. Not because they want to bribe them, but because they know the role the media played in deepening democracy. And they believe that if the media is very weak, it will also impact on the governance of those countries. So they took that decision deliberately to sustain the media. So we are saying that in Nigeria, we also deserve that kind of support from the government, like every other sector. Some time ago, when the aviation industry ran into trouble, the president bailed them out. Some time ago, when the banking industries ran into trouble, the federal government through the CBN bailed them out. Farmers, the federal government has bailed them out. So when we talk of the role of the media, knowing fully well the critical role of the media, we also believe that we also deserve the support of the federal government. Not because they want to bribe us, but because of the critical role.
I was going to ask that because
Yes.
when that comes up,
well,
the obvious thing
yes,
to say
there
that,
will be-
that
yes.
the media has been
Yeah,
bribed.
there will be ethical issues. But like I said, all over the world, medias are being sustained by government, either by way of subsidy or by way of a tax holiday, or creating the enabling structure for us to operate. So there's nothing wrong with that. Nigeria shouldn't be the first state that will be doing that. It's been done in the United States of America. It's been done in EU. Even in Asian countries, governments support the media because of the role. You were talking about, somebody was talking about when there's issues, the media is in a position to explain those issues to the public about what the government is doing. Tinubu said, look, yes, we believe that there was a problem with removal of subsidy and the floating of the naira. And he appealed to us to help explain to the members of the public that the dividend might not be now, but gradually the public will start getting the dividends of those two policies. So if we are not in business, how can we explain those things to the members of the public? Don't forget that if government say that to the public, because of the trust deficit, there will be a problem in getting the message across to the people. But if the media deliberately explain that to the people, there's a possibility that they will believe us.
Okay. So, Mr. Akpandem, tell us how the issue of tax holidays for the media can actually help the media play its role much better than it is doing at the moment.
Now, let's start from saying that if the organized media is not there, then of course you open the doors for rumor mongers. And of course, given the situation now, where you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry floating in the communication space, pretending to be journalists or operating as media organs, then of course you know what you are going to get. And where there is chaos within the society, even the government cannot control it. Now, like Dr. Ugari said, there is a buffer. You have the government there, and then you have the media, the people here. The media is in the middle. It takes the information here, transmits it to the people in the way that they will understand. And of course, you heard General Irabo
Yes.
said the other day that if information is not properly delivered, even your intentions will not be known. If you have a piece of information and you deliver in a way that it is not understood, the way government presents policies, you're not likely going to get it, the message. What you see is the result, is the impact. Now, what the tax holiday would do would be to enable the media stand. Now, what I mean by stand is to get enough resources and enough space to stabilize and expand, and then operate normally. I'll give you a typical example of a newspaper organization. In a conventional newspaper house, you have processes that you have to go through, and in each of those processes, in each stage, you need resources. And today, those resources are up there, very expensive. Now, not up to 5% is produced here. So you have to import. Now, look at the exchange rate, the way it is. How much is a copy of a paper out there? Even if you were to sell 500 copies a day, you cannot meet the cost of production. But if there is some kind of soft landing somewhere, it will reduce the cost of production so that whatever you get in terms of copy sales, in terms of advertisement, it will make up for the cost of production, and then you have surplus to pay the staff. Now, if you have staff members and you cannot pay them their wages, their entitlement, you cannot drive them. And if you cannot drive them, some other person will drive them. Some other entities will drive them. And when other entities drive them, you are not going to get the professional result that you are supposed to get. So it is not just the advantage is not just for the media organization or for the media. It is also for the society. Now, apart from that, you look at the larger economy. How much and how far are the other entities operating, the other sectors? Now, they are the ones who advertise. If they don't have enough, they cannot advertise. And if they cannot advertise, and I can tell you as somebody who had managed a newspaper before, that copy sales cannot cover cost of production and operational cost. It is advert.
Especially when copy sales is shrinking by the day.
It's shrinking. Because even if you produce, who is going to buy?
Yes.
The people on the streets do not also have money. They are within the same system, the same economy that you are. So even if you produce, they are not going to buy because they don't have the money to do so. Considering that, the government has to do something about the operation, the system, the operational environment, to make it conducive for those who are doing this business to help government and to help society. It is not just the media that's going to benefit. Because if they operate optimally or professionally, both the government and the people will benefit. But if they don't, there's going to be a problem. Government cannot explain all its policies and actions directly to the people. And when you also have a system where there's trust deficit, even if you explain to them and they don't believe you, what are you going to do? But they'd rather believe the media because they think, they also will assume that you are doing your work and that you are doing it faithfully and professionally. Only that now we also have issues on who is doing what. But in looking at what we are looking at, you do not look at the other issue. We look at the issue of operational cost, staying in business, which was why our president, Eze Anaba, brought out those issues. Told the president directly, look, if we do not have this, we are not likely going to survive. In fact, we have survived this far. Going forward, we may not. But if something comes, we may, and we may come up. And when we come up, it's for the good of everybody.
Okay, VP, let's look at the a president's speech, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where he said, look, criticize me if you must and if you can, but we have a nation that we must keep together. Now, in a country that is often plagued by or divided along ethnic, religious, and political lines, the role of the editor in engendering and promoting national unity becomes very key. How does the editor balance these different forces to keep the nation as one? Like Dr. Uga said, we can only operate as journalists and as editors if we have a nation. If we do not have a nation, we even as citizens, we will be running helter-skelter. But the editor is at that intersection of maintaining national unity, holding government accountable, and ensuring that the truth is told all the time. How does he do that?
And that is where we are. You see, none of us can count the number of media platforms that we have in Nigeria now. They are in thousands. Is it online TV? Is it online radio? Is it online newspaper? But then we still have what we call the legacy media. And I am glad to say that up to now, millions of Nigerians believe in the power and efficacy of the legacy media. Any news can go out within the twinkle of an eye. But serious-minded Nigerians still wait to read the news from the legacy media. We have had so many examples. Very timely, let me put it this way. I think about the time when we had the editors' conference. Somebody, push us. I'm giving an example of our newsroom to a corner because it was around the time that the National Assembly approved 1.5 trillion new loan. But then now somebody sent us an email. I received it. He said, you have to tell us how we arrived here because a few days ago, the president said we will not borrow again, especially domestically. We have stabilized. Is that correct? He said it.
Yes, of course.
So now somebody said, look, you have to explain to us. Why are they borrowing now? So we had no option but to now, tell our headline for the newspaper along that line, that despite the promises he made, but this is what happened. But then they gave explanation, which we also put in the newspaper. That is balancing the equation. Because Nigerians, they are more aware now, and they track whatever is happening. They hold us to account far, far more than the way we hold those in power to account. Because they always retweet the stories we carry, which is to convey a message from the powers that be. But if there is any new development, the same Nigerians now, they would now send it back to you that, look, remember, don't just say it hook, line, and sinker the way they said it, because this is the situation. So it's time, I think, for accountability across board, while we try to help those in power to pass the message, and Nigerians also believe in us because they wait. I know on several occasions, Nigerians will, after a viral news, is it about security, is it about, the economy or whatever, they will try and check. I will not call any name, but they will check the legacy media. If the story is not there, they will say, it's not true. Meaning that there is still hope. Meaning that the legacy media is very, very vital to the survival of our democracy. And as we all said, giving support is not giving bribe. And it's not that you should take cash and give media houses. Nobody is asking for that. What we are only saying is subsidize the process for us. Because if government said, okay, if you import cameras, you import, the equipment, newsprint, and all that, you will not pay tax. It's not bribe. Yeah. It's fair deal. because as Doctor said, almost all sectors have been supported. Farmers, manufacturers, aviation industry. Then what is wrong in saying that, okay, import all the equipment? Because the taxes are so high that sometimes what you pay is even much higher than the cost of what you pay to buy the equipment. So what we are asking is waive that for 10 years so that what comes out from that tax relief will be used to now improve, the welfare of our workers. If you see the attrition rate in the newsrooms now, I am scared that one day we will wake up without having even reporters in the newsroom. You will give them mouth-watering offer, you will waste your money, sorry to say waste, in training them, but the attrition is so worrying that you tend to ask that, are we going to have journalists in the next 5 years?
They're
Because
moving away in droves.
they are moving away. They are being taken by the banks, by the IT sectors. Some are even setting up their own platforms where they now, say all sorts of things, but then they get a lot of click and all that, and then they get the money. So we need
Even
to
before they
come
have
together.
had enough training.
Exactly.
They are
Some after
setting up.
2 years. In fact, you will recruit, train, spend a lot of money to train them. I don't want to give the figures, but it's frightening, honestly.
Yeah.
Newsrooms are bleeding because the young people, they don't want to practice real journalism.
Right. So that takes us, as we round off our discussion, to the whole issue of misinformation and disinformation. With the social media beginning to reshape the information ecosystem, how should editors respond to the spread of fake news, the spread of hate speech, and all such occurrences that, of course, threaten national cohesion? National cohesion is a major issue, or was a major issue at this conference. How should editors handle these?
So the issue of fake news, disinformation, and misinformation is a global challenge. It's not just peculiar to Nigeria alone. Going back to the EU came out with a report recently how billions of Europe was lost to the issue of misinformation. So it's a major challenge in the EU. Even in the US, it's a major challenge too. So it's not just about Nigeria. And that is why some time ago, Nigeria Guild of Editors, in collaboration with the EU in Nigeria here, embassy in Nigeria here, collaborate to organize a seminar on the fast-checking stories. The whole idea was to train editors on how to fast-check stories if we are not sure of the stories. And apart from our training, the need for verification of news before you published. And that is why in legacy media, there used to be what they called subdesk, that even when you send a story, there are sub-editors who need to cross-check the stories, ensure that it's grammatically free, there's no error, spelling error, and that there are no holes in the story that you are receiving from correspondents across the country. And if there are suspicions about whether the story is true or not, the sub-editor have a responsibility to check those things. But now, because of the social media, there's a huge challenge of fake news across the country, across the globe. So much that if you're not careful, you end up misinforming members of the public. And so Nigerian regulators, has on several occasions organized training program for the newsroom and for the editors. And if you look at the impact of that, I think most newsroom now have what they call fast-check desk. I'm sure you have that one in editors. We also have that one in our newsroom. They now have fast-check because editors have been trained. And by way of doing that, the editors also train their staff. So there are fast-check desks in most of the newsroom now. So, and if you look at the rate, fake news is gradually reducing in the legacy media. Where we have a problem is the social media. Just about a few days ago, there was a report that the former governor of Anambra State died. And if you check the origin of that story, it's from the social media. But for us as newspaper, we took time to verify the story. I remember when we got that story from the social media, we requested for the phone number of the governor. I would call him And he said, look, I'm alive. Just like when I was the group news editor in leadership, when there was these stories that Gani Fabemi was dead, when he was receiving treatment. So I said, look, somebody will say, oh, let's just put it immediately. I said, no, hold on, I have Gani Fabemi number. So I called him. I immediately received my number. He said, I know why you are calling me. You think I'm dead? Tell them I'm still alive, that I'm not in a hurry to leave this world. You know? So the point I'm making is that because of our discipline, the disciplines of verification, most editors have that discipline, have that professional training to verify stories before we publish, unlike the social media. So the major problem we have is the social platform. And editors need to be very careful, and we are being very careful in the way, you know, if you work in legacy media, you know there are processes in producing newspapers. So it will be very difficult, it will be extremely difficult.
The challenge is that members of the guilds, many members of the guild, operate in the social media space.
Yes, because they are in a hurry to compete with their competitors, those who are not well trained. You know, they are in a hurry to compete with them. So at the end of the day, they end up, you know, falling into that trap. But for you, for example, in television stations, I doubt whether you can get that kind of, you can fall into that trap. Or for us in this day, or Daily Trust, I doubt whether we can fall into that trap because we have that discipline to always verify stories before we publish. So the point I'm making is that it's part of the structure that we are talking about. The government should help us with the structure. Once you have the structure, it will be for the benefit of the entire society, not just for the media.
All right, Mr. Akwandem, in 1 minute, and you in 1 minute, what should the NG prioritize after this conference? What do you think you should prioritize after this conference?
Well, we look at the aggregate issues that were discussed. And then what we take home is do your job, but also know that there's a country. You have your job to do it professionally. The core of our business is objectivity, balance, accuracy. Once you achieve that on the professional side, you're fine, you're okay. Then you also look at the other side. You have your own rights, I have my own rights. There are privacy issues, respect that. Then, of course, the stability of the society will also help you operate optimally as a professional. So ensure the stability of the society. Now, national security is everybody's business. If the country collapses because of your story, where are you going to operate from? So if we do all this, and for now and everywhere I recommend media literacy, digital literacy, because all these issues we are talking about fake news and all that stuff. If you understand the tools, you understand the procedures, and you understand also the professional requirements, you are not likely going to fall into that trap.
Okay.
Like he said, verify, and verify.
Mr. Hamza.
I was in Germany not long ago, and the ombudsman, an elderly person, he has seen it all. He said it's no longer time for breaking news. People are actually looking for the right news.
After breaking the news, what next?
Exactly. But now if you break the wrong news, it will take you a very long time because it will tell on your credibility and the medium you represent. So on many occasions, we shelve stories until we are sure. And people wait for us. You will still get the traction. Just of recent, 2 BBC editors had to resign because of misinformation. So we hope to prioritize the issue of getting the news right. And then the carrot and stick, because we will not afford to compromise the legacy media. It remains the foundation of our country.
We have a lot of work to do with the social media.
So, but you can see even the social media it has different compartments now, because you have the Guild of Online Editors. They are sanitizing themselves. These are editors that have given their best, and now they have their own platforms. But then the citizen journalist, and that is what Doctor is talking about. So government must partner with us to see that we sanitize the space.
Okay. All right.
Let me just make a appeal to my colleagues. Our country is at the crossroads, especially on the issue that has to do with security. fighting terrorism and what have you. So it has been established that we have a common enemy to fight. And Nigeria must show that understanding that we have a common enemy, and they must partner with the government or security agencies in ensuring that we defeat our common enemy, and that is the terrorist.
Okay.
So we must be mindful of the way we report terrorism so that we don't give oxygen to terrorists to be able to commit more havoc. And that's where Nigerian media must show some restraint in the way to report terrorism.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yobosa Wugaren. He is the treasurer of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Thank you for your time. And of course, we have had Idris Hamza. He is the vice president, North, of the Nigerian Guild of Editors and editor-in-chief of Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, Elder James Akpandem, former managing editor of Daily Independent newspaper and a fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Thank you.
Thank you
your
very
time.
much.
And that's our program for today. Please join us again when we bring you a fresh edition of People, Politics, and Power. Bye for now.